What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of NanoCast, the first episode of Season 2. Super stoked. NanoCast is about the cryptocurrency Nano. Nano's fast, feeless, scalable, and led by a driven team. It's inspired thousands to participate in the development of its apps and services, and on this podcast, you'll get to meet some of those people. Before we get to our awesome guests, I want to tell you a little bit about two of our sponsors. First, NanoThings.store. NanoThings has agreed to sponsor NanoCast one more time. You can win a pack of stickers, and I'm going to give you more ways to do it. You can be entered to win by commenting on this video, by tweeting the tweet that I put out about this video, and all the videos in this season, and also if you leave a review on iTunes, that would be pretty sweet also. The second is BrainBlocks. I'm sure you've all heard of BrainBlocks. It's the easiest way to spend your Nano. BrainBlocks just came out with something called a pod. What is a pod, you ask? Well, pod's a user-friendly dashboard for even the most novice users. Anyone can create a new representative and start supporting the network within 10 minutes. Pod is eco-friendly with low power requirement. It uses just a quarter of the power of a standard light bulb. Also, there's going to be a software update for Pod in the future where it will allow you to do the POW for your send and receive transactions when you're sending and receiving Nano. So that way you don't have to rely on a third-party server. So Pod is just a really awesome way that we can help decentralize the network, and anybody can do it. And if you go to nanocast.co/pod, that'll take you to the Pod store where you can buy one. And if you do buy one and you want to help me out a little bit, make sure you follow that link so they know that I sent you. All right, now to our guest, Louis Nobleman. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how long you've been into Nano, and what you're most excited about Nano right now.
Well, as many people know, I'm from Venezuela. I began to work on Nano since 2017 on April. I was a faucet user, as many Venezuelans did at the time, when it was called Roblox. And right now, well, I'm a community manager and pretty much a big fan of Nano, of its technology and everything related to it, especially the community, since I saw how the community grew since the faucet days, and now it became so big, so massive. You know, many people over Reddit, Telegram, Facebook. So it's awesome to be part of all of this.
Yeah, that reminds me a little bit of how, like, I feel like in December and January, there was, like, a ton of, like, community enthusiasm, and then the crypto winter came, and everyone kind of, it seemed like everybody kind of crawled back into their holes, and it was like, what's going on with this community? Everything's so depressing. But then, like, this week with Nano Center, kind of bringing all the people that are stoked about Nano together has been a really cool thing. Have you looked into the Nano Center yet?
Yeah, but I've been looking at this and all of this from my phone. You know, I updated a lot of my socials about the issues I'm facing, but I'm always getting attention towards the community via Telegram and Facebook mostly, since those are the two social media that most of my use. And Discord, well, I was pretty active on Discord, but with the internet problems here, it's kind of difficult to access the application from PC or my phone. I don't know why, but that's one of my setbacks right here. But yeah, about the December thing, a lot of people of crypto are more into the how do I say that, into the profits, you know. So that's a pretty big mistake, because you have to see how the project is, what is it about, not only about the profits you are going to make trading a cryptocurrency. That's a lot of newbies mistakes. A lot of friends did that back in the time in December, and they went, oh no, everything's down, why? But I told them to calm down. Everything will be getting back in shape, and it's not everything about profit. They have to see more about the technology and the benefits it will bring in the future.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of a double-edged sword, because the profit is usually what brings people into the crypto space at all. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's like we need that to an extent to pull people toward the project, but really we want people then to take the next step and say, oh, what are the actual like projects that are worthwhile? And
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people don't make that step.
yeah. No, no, no. Because they don't read. They need to read a little bit more to understand all the project in itself. Get
Hmm.
a bigger picture.
And they are allured by the illusion of making money on crypto.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm sure that only lasts for a couple months when they lose all the money they put into it, but it's
yeah.
there.
Well, I started in crypto back in 2014, 2013 because of that. Because I wanted to make profit. I was younger at the time, and I needed money. There were people talking to me about Bitcoin. It was better than the USD, so I got my nose into it. But it definitely changed my perspective about cryptocurrency. Alongside the first 6 months, I was trying to trade and try to make a profit. So then after that, I started to search about different cryptos around the time, and throughout the years, I found Rayblock, and that, well, for most people here in Venezuela, that changed everyone's life, including
Hmm.
mine.
Hmm. So you found Ray Blocks, and you said it was around April,
Yeah, yeah,
and
2017, last year.
there were the faucets, and I would say probably most of the people that are listening to this podcast weren't around for the faucets. So can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, that was a pretty fun time. Well, developers were at the time were only calling Mika, and well, those were the first two persons I knew of the project, being calling the main developer of Rayblox, and the faucet was kind of like captchas on images you get on the screen. Sometimes there were letters, sometimes there were numbers, and it was evolving throughout the time because the massive community was growing throughout the faucet. There were a
Mm.
lot of users, and there were people cheating the faucet. So
Mm.
there were two developers in charge of the faucet, and they were working like 24/7 to keep the system fair for everyone. So everyone
Mm.
can
They
claim the
were
coins.
cheating the faucet by making bots.
Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
bots. There was like tons of bots working on the faucet and getting coins to the a sole user. Like in one day, a user could get out like 500 or 600 nano using bots.
Hmm.
So the developers of the faucet were 24/7 working on it to avoid that thing. Even at the point that it had to be not catches but audios, some
Hmm.
sound clips that you have to hear. They were like pretty much disordered. You can get your ear bleeding if you didn't have the correct volume, and you have to type the numbers so you can claim.
Hmm.
Every time you claim, you went onto a top 200 of users who passed the threshold to obtain the coins. So it was like a contest to get in the top 200. And for many people here in Venezuela, it was kind of a day job
Hmm.
or a full day job to get those coins due to our economic crisis. So that's what I say that it changed a lot of people's life here.
Hmm. So that was for you. Is that what you did? You spent most of your days working on the faucets.
No, no. My first 2 weeks, I was into the faucet because I wanted to get the most coins, a lot of coins, so I can, I don't know, trade it. But then I started to read the a little white paper Rayblock had at the time. It was a pretty like 10 pages of white paper. It was a pretty simplistic thing compared to the actual one. Uh, and then I saw the technology and it started to compare to Bitcoin, like everyone does. You compare every crypto to Bitcoin. That's a bad habit everyone has. But it served me like to know about how the technology will evolve throughout the time. So I just started to search different cryptocurrencies to find if there was anything like Roblox on internet in the internet, but I couldn't find anything like that or similar.
Hmm.
So then I started to talk with um, some of the developers throughout Telegram. There was this wallet I like it so much, Jabray, that was closed down last year on November, December. It was carried out by James Coxon,
Hmm.
and that's how I knew him because I helped him with some of the weekly updates he made for Ravlogs, and that's how I started to be a community manager. So I didn't spend a lot of time in the faucet, but I told a lot of people in Venezuela that had needs to to get some free money out of it
Hmm.
because of the crisis. My closest friends, they were the ones that I taught about how rate blocks will be in the future and how cryptocurrencies could be the next big thing in the next 5 or 6 years. So a lot of my friends got into Nano during the faucet, but like I must say that 90% of the people I talk to, they invest all the money into Nano, and that was the best thing they did in their lives.
Mm. So have you seen it change people's lives physically, visibly?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Because I saw people who made the faucet like their daytime job, and they use all their income on the faucet to be like their job, nothing else. They didn't get in their interest in the cryptocurrency as it is. But the people I got to talk with about the cryptocurrency, they fell in love like me with the project. We decided to invest our our assets into Nano because it was easier to do than invest in other cryptocurrency. And at the time, it didn't change our life because I remind that it was like $0.1, like it was worth like too little. So
Hmm.
when it grew up like $20, $25, that's when people started changing their lives. So
Right.
I got a friend who bought like 2 cars and a house with Nano.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But they didn't throughout all their Nano. Most of them are holding all of their coins alongside other cryptocurrencies they bought into, but they are only trusting in Nano for the long time period.
Mm. Why do you think Nano is going to be such a long-term play?
Because there's not a lot of projects that are focusing on one thing at a time. Because the primary thing that Nano had by the time it was Roblox is that do one thing and do it well. And in today's world, pretty much every company wants to get a hold of a lot of things. And Nano has always been about the transactions, fast transactions, instant transaction from the day one. Many people knew Roblox uh, after the faucet as the fastest cryptocurrency in the market. So that's why I think at long term it will change a lot of the cryptocurrency scheme because everyone wants a fast transaction. Everyone wants to send money or receive money instantly. They don't want to wait anything to confirm to like a mail or something. You only want to send here from point A to point B as fast as it can be. So Nano is a cryptocurrency that not only being fast, but for me was a pretty nice experience to get into because it was easy. I didn't have any hard time learning about it as I had with Bitcoin when I first investigate about the cryptocurrencies. Um, for mostly of my friends, when they got into Nano, they learned quickly. It was a fun time to read about the project, to read the white paper, to use the wallets. Everything was easy, including many people were saying that the first desktop wallet, the ones like for developments, mostly for developments, I saw a lot of people at the time that they were complaining about it because it was hard to get into,
Mm.
but it's not really that hard because you only have to read carefully and to always get every question you have to the people who knows how to use the wallets. And at the time, the developers were um, as actively as they are now. They were always around the community, and I learned about the wallets because one of the conversations they had at the time at Slack. We before Discord we had this Slack when it was Rayblox, and the developers were actively 100% over Slack. A lot of people of the community asked a bunch of questions about the developments, about the protocol, and the wallets. And that was a pretty nice period because like everyone who were in Slack at the time will learn a lot of stuff from the project, from the voices of from the letters of Colin, James, and Mika, who were the main characters at the time on the Slack.
Mm. Seeing the developers talk way back then and kind of watching them evolve through time and new people get added and just kind of being more intimately aware of the things they say and do. Where's your confidence level at in the team?
100%. My confidence is in the highest state possible with them because at the time when it was Ravelux, I saw the team as a humble team. They
Mm.
were pretty nice persons to everyone. Right now, it's kind of difficult for them to be 100% talking with the people because we have a bigger community. It's
Right.
it's crazy to see how we started and how is it going right now. But all the developers are great people. They are pretty good guys and very humble. You don't see a lot of developers being so constantly active in social media as they are, and so relatable. They are pretty much relatable. I remember I was talking the first time with Colin when I became officially a community manager. He was such a nice guy when we were talking, texting on Slack. We were talking about family. We talk about my family there in Texas. Um, I always had the confidence to talk with him of everything I need, being about Ray blocks, being about anything else. They were always there for the community. They always have, and yeah, I must say that during the recent problems with Nano has faced throughout the past months, I never lose any confidence on the team. Never, and I'm never going to be because I don't know them in person, but I I grew up a little bit on them on me.
Mm-hmm. Cool. How do you think Nano gains adoption?
Well, it gains adoption because of the people, the community. As I did here in Venezuela, I started like before um, using my social media. I was using another pseudonym. I don't remember even the name. But back in the faucet, I saw when in the period when the faucet was ending and the project was going to take another step forward to the burn on the of the remaining coins of the faucet and everything else. Uh, I saw the adoption at that time was all about the people. People spreading the awesomeness of transferring assets with Nano, and they were there. I remember there were a lot of people creating banners, images, gifs, memes about Nano, and it began to gain adoption thanks to all the objectives that the developers stated during the December. period where they released like a roadmap with plenty of objectives, and people got started to the hype. It started the hyping about the new wallets, the mobile wallets that were contemplating in. They had like three lines of closest objectives to fulfill, near term and long term objectives to fulfill, and people started to um, stick to those objectives. So seeing mostly the wallets, like
Hmm.
the people was always sticking to they're going to release the wallets, when are they going to release my Android wallet? I want to have my Nano in my Android or my iPhone, and that's why the people keep coming back to the project because they saw how the technology works, the desktop wallet, how fast it was, and plenty here in Venezuela. I'm safe to say that everyone was using the Telegram wallet, the one developed by Serg. Uh, he's the one of the contributors to the core development, and he's the main developer of the Telegram wallet. And Telegram wallet was kind of our mobile wallet because that was the closest thing we have to a mobile wallet.
Hmm.
And people was like crazy about it because you could send Nano like in less than 10 seconds.
Hmm.
While you type in the address, you send it, and that's the main thing of the adoption Nano got at the time, the wallet. And at the time, we only had the desktop one and the Telegram one, and the online Nano wallet EO that is online. That it's not that now it's a third-party wallet. That was the main hype that people had about Nano. That
Hmm.
it was easy to create wallets, it was easy to transfer, and it was easy to learn how to use the product. So that's how the developer team always had in mind. Have easy to use wallets, have had easy to use product. And I think that the main adoption of Nano has been that the trying to get every user being having knowledge of cryptocurrency or not, getting into the project, getting into the product
Hmm.
to use it as easy as it can be.
Hmm.
And the adoption came for that because whenever you see in Reddit any comment of any person wanting to get into Nano, they always say that, wow, this is fast. Wow, I can use the wallet like pretty easy. Um, and that's the main point of adoption there, the wallet and the easiness to use all these products.
Hmm. Totally. Yeah, and I was just thinking, Nano has to be easy to use, and then I was thinking, like, I don't know what it's like in Venezuela, but opening a bank account in the U.S. isn't easy. At least not like we think of it as easy because it's normal. But to open a bank account in the U.S., you have to go to a bank. You gotta fill out papers. You gotta sign your life away. Um, all you need for a Nano wallet is download an app. Download
Yeah,
Canoe wallet and follow the steps, and then somebody can send you Nano. And I think maybe part of it being easy is educating people to what easy actually means.
yeah, that's a good point. Here in Venezuela, opening a bank account is one of the hardest thing in life, because you have to get in line with a line with like hundreds of people to get attended by
Mm.
one of the bankers services, and it's pretty much like a thing you don't do in one day. You have to plan for a week to get a
Mm.
bank account here. And you always have to sign papers and everything, but here it's like triple or 10 times the difficulty you have there in USA.
Mm.
So for
And I
people
would
here,
imagine that's probably what it's like around most of the world.
yeah, so yeah. So when people get into Nano, it's so just like let's take for example the online wallet. You only have to get your email set up. You have to get your security password, your 2FA, and that's all. We can send and receive Nano instantly.
Hmm.
I think
Uh,
that that's more likely what people want these days. They don't want to go to a bank, you know. They just want to sit down in their homes with the computer and get everything done by themselves.
mhm. What is the most inspiring event or action? I don't know really know the right word to use, but the most inspiring thing you've seen happen in the nano community.
The most inspiring thing, wow. You know, a community has always inspired me in a lot of opportunities, so it's hard to pick only uh, one specific thing to say, but I have to say that the most inspiring thing was when we started with the Discord server. Why the Discord? Because it was a time where people like we were seeing the faucet being closed. Now a lot of comments were, oh no, the coin's going to get down, it's going to die, and all of those
Mm.
things. Um, there was a lot part of the community, a big part of the community that encouraged everyone to see the bigger picture about Nano. And I remember that at the time, Twitter was growing up a lot about Nano, and the most inspiring thing I saw when the Discord is like after months from that, there was the rebranding, and the rebranding brought a lot of more people into the project, and that's when we saw how the community grow in different aspects. Reddit was filled with a lot of different developers, young developers, newbies to the subject. They were developing a lot of apps. I have a friend who's living in the same block as me. That he developed like a calculator for Nano, which you can calculate um, Bitcoin to Nano, dollars to Nano, Bolivares to Nano. And at the time, as him, there was like a ton of people developing stuff around Nano. A lot of projects that is going on, and most of them are brain blocks at the time was growing up when when it was going through the rebranding and remembering the people, the developers talking with the those third party developers like, hey, we're rebranding. I know you are getting ahead of with the project or frame of your wallet or whatever you were developing. So I just wanted to know that we are going to be Nano, and so you don't waste your all your development. So you just have to rebrand as ourselves. And it was like it was a pretty fun time because we knew about the rebranding like for a month or 2 or 3 weeks before the rebranding. People were asking, and we were avoiding so much questions. I had a lot of close friends like here in my city, like, hey man, so you have to tell me we are brothers. We are like, oof, for many years behind. Please tell me, is Nano rebranding? You have to tell me. At the time, Rayblock is Rayblock rebranding, so you have to tell me. I know I'm not going to tell anyone. I stick to my NDA, and I never told anyone. Not even my
Oh
family
man.
knew about the rebranding, man. So it was a pretty fun time, and people were like pretty hype about the rebranding. And when the leak happened, um, like there was a lot of people that were turning down the nano thing because we were avoiding all this question, or we were like, no, this is not going to happen. I found myself lying a few times on Facebook, like, nah, that's a lie. That's all made up. Like, don't get attention. We're not rebranding to Nano. What's that? Wow. Uh, but then again, when the rebranding happened officially, people like came to me on private messages like, "Come on, man, you could only send like an emoji or something. I wouldn't mind, man." So people got really hyped. At the time, that community that were like skeptical about the rebranding. We're like everything. Well, whoa! Now we're getting bigger. Now we're going to dethrone Bitcoin. We're going to dethrone a lot of cryptocurrency now. And I saw that as the most inspiring thing in my entire time here in Nano, because the community were so desperate to see what's going to happen.
Hmm.
Not only investors, new ones to the project were very hyped about what's going next in the project.
Hmm. That's cool. Um, yeah, I hope it stays that way as Nano continues to evolve, as yeah, it takes new directions or adds new features that we're always hyped about. What's next? I know
I
I am.
remember I remember talking to the developers about many features we could implement, mostly in the wallet. Like people were requesting like conversions, like you can see in your wallet different currencies to see how much nano you got in. I don't know, in Bolivar is my main currency, and I think the developers are going to satisfy a lot of users of the wallets, a lot of investors, and everyone around the project, because there's a lot of good things coming down,
Hmm.
and I know everyone will get like pleased to see what's coming next in the project.
Sweet, and hopefully those wallets will have started to be released by the time this comes out in 2 days. We'll see. everything
Yeah, I hope
always
so.
everything always takes longer than you think it will, and what people say. So it could be a month. Who knows? But hopefully, by the time this comes out.
Hopefully this week we have
Yeah.
finally a full release of, especially I'm looking forward for the full release of the Android wallet because many of my friends want to use it.
Mm.
Uh, the developers gave me an app for the Android wallet, and I installed it in two of my devices. And I showed my friends. It was a video that I uploaded in Twitter like months ago. I showed them how fast it is to use a transaction using the mobile wallet. It was pretty much like wallet in development. It had a lot of bugs, but it serves the purpose of transferring funds instantly. So
Hmm.
I only scanned the QR, and then I have like four or five people around me. So, I told them this is the future. Record me. We're going to send some nano from this wallet to this wallet to different phones. It was less than a second the transfer.
Mm.
So people got blown out. Like there was a Bitcoin purist, as we like to call them here in Venezuela, Bitcoin purists that they always tell, oh, Bitcoin, I have my mining equipment, I have everything of my life put in Bitcoin because it's the best thing in the world. When I show him how fast the transaction was, his face was like he was searching in his mind a counter argument to say that why Bitcoin is better than that transactions and everything like
Right.
that. But we were laughing and having a good time.
Yeah.
And we were talking a lot about Nano at that night because, as I said earlier, it changed a lot of people's lives here in Venezuela, mostly to the people who invested and who trusted in the project, not only the faucet. And they see Nano as a religious thing, almost a religious thing. That
Hmm.
it was such a great experience to be involved in the transition from Ravelox to Nano, to see how the developers reacted to all the things going on in the social media, the brick drill stuff and everything. People, there was few people who for I don't know if it was their investment that they were careless about what they were doing, that they got lost in the time about the project. But most of the people who started, like me, being involved in Nano in some way, they are pretty happy about everything that's going on right now.
Hmm. Sweet. Okay. I think we've touched on a lot of great topics. So, last word goes to you. What are some words of inspiration for the Nano community at large?
Uh, well, to all these awesome community, maybe It's the first time they see my face. I think most people think of myself as a older person, but no. I'm 24 years old, and as a young person, I must say that we have to we have to see everything in life as a long-term period of time. Everything you have to do with cryptocurrency, you have to not only think about today, but you have to think about tomorrow, next month, next year, and to always make your research about what you're doing, especially with crypto. For the community, well, a lot of people thought that I was out of Nano, but no, no, I'm 100% into Nano. I never left. I'm just getting sorted all of my issues here in the country, and always around. You can send me on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and I will always be attending to everyone.
Kind of to sum that up a little bit, I think your main points are that we need to be available to each other and remember that the community is always here, even in the hard times.
Yeah, we're always here. We are not getting out of anything because we see a little price
Yeah.
drop, because that happens every day in everyone's life.
And it's good to see your face. This later this season, I think we're probably also going to see Wimps's face, and that one's iffy, but I think we will. And we're also going to see J Dub's face. So it's going to be
I'm looking forward to Jacobs. I'm really looking forward to Jacobs.
So it's gonna be a fun season. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember that if you comment or do those other things, you can win some stickers. And if you want to buy a pod, head over to nanocast.co/pod and buy a pod from BrainBlocks. Help decentralize the network. They aren't out yet, and you may not be able to order them yet when this comes out, but you will be able to soon. I ordered one of the first batch. I can't wait for it to get here. I'll post a review when it comes in. Everybody give a big thank you to Lewis for coming on and sharing what it's like to be community manager and all his knowledge and just all that he's seen in Nano so far.
Seen a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff.
So again, thanks Lewis for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man.